Chelsea Football Club evidently hired a strong manager because Enzo Maresca, even before he's officially appointed, has already put his foot down and done something Mauricio Pochettino struggled to do and was actually going to allow the players to get away with. The reality is Enzo Maresca has told players, you're not going to the Olympics. Like it or not, I need you here for pre-season. Enzo Maresca has also, according to Italian sources, had put his foot down on Victor Osimhen, Romelu Lukaku, and finally the biggest one of all, IMaatsen. It looks like there is an opportunity for Chelsea to keep him as long as other players get sold, because Dortmund don't look like they're going to activate the 35 million because they don't have the money. Let's get into it. Let's break it down. Let's get into the little minute details. And as always, let's do it in an entertaining fashion so that you enjoy it and have your popcorn with it. Number one, hit the like button. We're aiming for 1,000 likes. Number two, subscribe to the channel because that's the best way you will stay up to date with the football. And finally, I just want to say thank you. What you lot have been doing in the last 2-3 weeks, the channel is growing at a rapid rate. I'm not exaggerating when I say that. Thank you very much for everything. I appreciate it. And now I'm going to deliver the content that you want. So it looks like Enzo Maresca, prior to even getting the job and prior to coming to Cobham, has already put his foot down. Enzo Fernandez, Malo Gusto and Badiashile are not going to the Olympics. The French camp and the Argentinian camp wanted to call these players up. However, Thierry Henry was very vocal in the fact that he was just getting rejections from left, right and center. It is very evident that Enzo Fernandez has done interviews in Argentina stating, I want to play. If there's an opportunity to represent my country, I will. First of all, there are a lot of people that are reacting in a way that I don't like. A lot of people are saying these players are a disgrace. Chelsea pay their wages. They need to respect Chelsea and they have to play for Chelsea. You're wrong. The reality is these players have no affiliation to Chelsea Football Club outside of the fact that Chelsea Football Club is their employer. If these players played for Chelsea for 10 years, loved the club, adored the club, inherited the culture, I would say, you know what, it makes sense. However, these people love their country. These people want to represent their country. They want to do what's best for their country. Try stop Thiago Silva from playing from Brazil. If Brazil was still calling up Thiago Silva, he would still be going. And the reality is, Thiago Silva is a role model for how someone integrates himself and his family into a football club. You can't argue with that. So the reality for me is, please lay off the players. However, what I do like in Enzo Maresca is the fact that it is being reported that Mauricio Pochettino was definitely letting Enzo go. The arrangement was already in place and that Maresca now came in and said, hold on, I got a system to implement. We've got tactics to do. First day of pre-season, everyone get your asses back and we are going to work our backsides off to make sure Chelsea is firing come the first game of the season. Gusto, you're not going. Badiashile, you are not going. However, one player has been called up and that's Leslie Ogochukwu. And what does that tell me? It tells me Leslie Ogochukwu is going on loan next year. He was kept because of Mauricio Pochettino. He is going on loan. It may put more question marks around the signing. £24 million on a player that clearly they don't have big plans for next year because he's going to the Olympics, he's going to miss the pre-season and he's not going to be ready for the first few games, which is worrying. However, this also tells me one thing on a side note. Mauricio Pochettino did not want to keep Enzo Fernandez. Mauricio Pochettino was looking for excuses not to keep Enzo in the team, and for me, that is weak management. If you don't think Enzo's good enough and you're happy to live without a £110 million player for the first few games of the season, let him go. And let him go, just drop him. Reality is, just drop him. You most probably would have kept your job if the last 5 performances, the way everyone tells me, oh, because Enzo's out the team, should have done it from January. I promise you now, no one would be complaining if we won, instead of 11 out of our last 19, if we won 15 out of our last 19, secured Champions League football, nobody would have been complaining. So for me, I'm really appreciative of Enzo Maresca being strong from the outset, putting his foot down, doesn't care if he upsets players, and for me, tough. You play for Chelsea. You get paid by Chelsea. We decide if you get to go to this international tournament that's not FIFA approved. It's perfectly fine for you to go to the Copa America, AFCON, Euros, perfectly fine. You're not going to tournaments that aren't regulatorily approved for us to let you go when we have games. Sorry. Gazzetta dello Sport from Italy is reporting that at this moment in time, Enzo Maresca has told Chelsea, listen, we should not be interested in a swap deal between Victor Osimhen and Romelu Lukaku. And for me, I don't understand why, purely based on the fact that more research I do, people have this perception in their head now. And I had it as well because I started reading it from other accounts saying it. So I was like, oh, maybe they know what they're talking about. That Enzo Maresca's number 9 are going to be high touch players. They're going to be linking up play. They're going to be involved in build-up. Apparently, that's further from the truth. And every single comp I see, every single analysis piece I read, every single Leicester fan I hear that talks about Enzo Maresca's tactics, they tell you openly the striker touches the ball less than the keeper. The striker, Patterson Daka, averaged 15 touches. Jamie Vardy averaged 22 touches a game all season. What does that tell you? It tells you Victor Osimhen would have been perfect. However, at the same time, it also tells you if Enzo Maresca doesn't rate him, well, you know what? What's the point of acquiring him? The fact is, Enzo doesn't have direct influence over who we sign and what we sign. His opinion gets asked. Look, Enzo, we're thinking of getting up Victor. Do you think at this moment in time you would want him? No, I wouldn't. I don't think he's worth £113 million. No problem. Okay, it's a big outlay, we won't do it. Or, sorry Enzo, the committee think he's good enough, he's going to play. Like, he's going to come in, make it work. It's that type of conversation. Gazzetta dello Sport is also reporting the fact that Romelu Lukaku will be coming back to Chelsea. They don't know what's going to happen. Him starting for the club is not ruled out. For me, this is ruled out. I think that is a speculation point, and it's one of those where the article was written by an individual that most probably is saying, well, maybe there's an option in a world where Enzo Maresca might like Romelu Lukaku. Whilst I think Romelu Lukaku would be good for Chelsea in the terms that he will score bare goals, I think the course has been run. I think a lot of you always get me, Alex, so he disrespected the badge. Alex, he's disrespectful to Chelsea. We shouldn't keep him. I get that all the time. All I'm going to say is Enzo Maresca will know what's best for his team. And whatever he thinks is best for his team, I'm going to give him 19 games to prove to me he's the gaffer. In 19 games, I want to see good results, and more importantly, I want to see what you're trying to build in terms of the style of play. Is it sustainable? What we're doing impressive, or are we just dodging the bullet every single time? Is what we're doing actually implementable across the length? Are the players developing under him? Not everything has to be 19 out of 19 wins. But you know what? If we get 12 out of 19 wins, the what Poch did in the second half of the season, and all of a sudden we're controlling games and like we're winning games comfortably, we're not conceding 2 goals a game, I'm going to say, oh, you know what? We're building something here. We're not going to win the league this year, but you know what? We'll be in the Champions League next year. We're going to be pushing. We're on the right front. We're developing. The Conference League is going well. And for me, that is the positive that I want to see. But regarding regarding Victor Osimhen and Lukaku, I think this is just Gazzetta dello Sport at the moment, just give it an opinion-based article rather than actual concrete evidence. The final report that's coming out of Germany is actually very interesting because it's one that I didn't expect. So what we've been hearing is that Dortmund don't have the money to pay 35 million for IMaatsen because they believe that whilst he is somebody that they would love to acquire more than Jadon Sancho, they believe at this moment in time it's a lot of money to spend on a player. They are willing to spend somewhere between 25, maybe pushing to 30 rather than the 35. It makes sense. Their whole model was built around getting young players in the stage of their career where they develop them and sell them on for 35, 40, 50, 60 million pounds rather than spend the 35, because then the resale value is basically Maatsen needs to slap to the point where someone comes and pays 50, 60, 70 million for a fullback. That doesn't happen regularly. However, this is where it gets interesting for me. They don't have first refusal, meaning if someone else comes in and puts 35 million, Chelsea are powerless, Dortmund are powerless, and it is purely up to the agent and the player. What they decide happens. They're also saying that Enzo Maresca will have an influence on what happens with his future, which for me, I don't believe, because what we've been told is Enzo Maresca will have no say on what is happening with players coming in and coming out. So straight out of the back, I don't believe it. However, I do believe that Chelsea could look at it and say, well, you know what? We might be selling a player that will benefit the first team and save us 50, 60 million to go out and buy someone. However, under the lights, right, if you put your logical hat on, so all of us just put it on, think about it. 35 million saved here means Gallagher will have to go, Chalobah will have to go, Broja will have to go. That will help balance this year's and next year's books. So basically, if you're keeping Maatsen, Cobham graduates will have to go. It's as simple as that, because I think they were counting on that money. The Lewis Hall money was counted on. It will happen, but it is what it is. Let me know your thoughts. Would you be happy to keep Maatsen at the club next year, or do you want a new left back? I saw a lot of people were down on the pass. You can't judge a player based on one action. I think that is extremely harsh. Do you think we made a mistake by not letting some of the players go to the Olympics? Because at this moment in time, that could ruin morale. It could just antagonize players that are already frustrated that Pochettino is going. But it is what it is. Hit the like button, 1,000 likes, subscribe to the channel. Let me know your thoughts. By the way, the Elise videos over here about what Fabrizio said about him next few days. It is very interesting. And the Sesko videos over here with me breaking down the move for Sesko. Let me know your thoughts. Peace out. I'm out. Have a lovely day.